Okay, guys, for the finale, we are going to be talking about 5 mistakes that beginners, which would be folks like us, make in regards to winter survival. So we got Tyler back on our end, on the Syndicate side. If you guys need real estate help, you know the deal. The link is down below in the video description, minus your fantasies about buying land to shoot on, because I can already tell you, you're not. So let's save each other the emails back and forth on that, please.
So what you're saying is, my hopes and dreams are crushed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you have a minimum, a mil.
Yeah.
U.S. Brass House for ammo, they sponsor us. Our code 1911 Syndicate, all_no space. Sly Tactical, same code, get 15% off that. And the U.S. Brass House is $20 off per case of ammo. Sorry about that.
And then rock and roll. You
introduce
work
yourself.
With I was gonna say the channels. Go for it.
So I'm Tyler White. I'm with TJX Survival is my personal channel. I work with Survival Dispatch. I work with the website Survivopedia. I work with Ready Man. I've made stuff with Blade HQ. I have tjxsurvival.com and other different things that I do.
Bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Teach people in the backcountry. I really like to take people out for 2 or 3 days or a week. I like to go out for a week. Most people can go out for 3 days with like a knife, a canteen, and a poncho. We just stay there. We feed ourselves. We do fire, water, shelter, food. We make tools, all that type of stuff. That's fun. Like, that's my idea of a good time. I'm not right in the head, but anyway, that's what I like to do. So your question is, what is the 5 #1 mistakes? I got to think about that for a little bit, but there's some glaring, obvious, and painful ones.
Yeah.
Straight out of the bat, man, people screw up footwear.
Okay.
You guys did this good. People will come out. I used to be a guide in Alaska, and I would take people out on glaciers.
Yeah.
And they would show up in flip-flops.
No.
And I'm like, you know what you're doing. Like, you know what you signed up for, right? It got so bad the company would buy these over boots that they would have to buy, and so that they could put stuff. Yeah. It's like it's like these boots, only a waterproof thing.
Yeah. It's interesting that you've had that problem, because we have a cameraman that continually comes out in vans.
He's like right here.
And it's a, oh shit, he's right here. Hey, sorry about that. But he continually does the same thing, so we understand.
What should be self-correcting when your toes are burning from coldness?
You would think. Is there a sock, if we talk socks?
So when it comes to socks, 1,000 different socks that work as long as they're wool.
Okay.
Right?
That's
Those
simple.
super puffy wool socks are okay if you're wearing mucklocks and it's 30 below, and you do the ones that are knee high. Otherwise, get like, I'm wearing alpaca wool right now because it's dense and it's tight.
And how soft are those, huh?
Oh,
so incredibly comfortable.
softer than your beard when he snuggles with it.
Oh, dude.
Like legit.
So I only know because I've been to Peru, so
yes, their hats are great. I have camel wool, sheep wool, alpaca wool. They're all wool as well, right?
Yeah.
So the characteristics are a tightly woven hair with lanolin in it, which is antimicrobial, antibacterial, and semi-water resistant. The water will beat up and fall off. Okay. And if it does get wet, it retains 80% of its insulation value. You can dry it out with fire. You don't want wet socks, but if you have them, at least they work. Cotton is like no heat retention, and even when it is wet, it's still springing. Yeah. So it's going to be anti-blister, right? So footwear is wool. Keep your. The other thing too is keep them loose. People crank their shoes down tight, and they're like, my toes are cold. My toes are cold. Man, just loosen up everything. Tie a loose knot on top so it will stay. Make sure your toes can wiggle around, kind of slop around in there a little bit. Your feet will be just fine because that's dead air space that's warm, right? Yeah. The insulation value comes from the how many centimeters of dead air space you've got.
That stays warm.
Yes. So if you've got something that compresses all that out, you're essentially touching the cold outside. You want that to stay warm. When you wear mucklocks, you're going to have one pair of wool socks, another pair of knee-high wool socks. There's a liner that you wear that comes in these boots as well. It's just a liner. And then your outer layer. And you're talking like, it's like wearing pillows on your feet. Yeah. And it feels amazing, right? But it feels amazing because it's got inches of insulation. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, let me think of another mistake.
Next thing, I think hydration is a good one to hit.
Hydration is a massive one. So first off, people don't drink enough water, right? That's not a problem on day 1, maybe even day 2, but about day 3, you're like, why do I have the brain fog? Why can't I think? Why am I shivering so much? Well, because your blood volume is low, and because your synaptic junctions are failing, and you're basically running out of water, right? So hydration is massive. Now, when I am drinking a gallon of water, the biggest thing I see that people don't bring with them is salt. right? I don't care what time of the year it is. There's 2 things that I would put in everyone's survival kit, in addition to the stuff that everyone already knows about. That's wool socks and salt, right? Because if you're here for 3 or 4 days, I can get water, I can shoot stuff and get food, I can make fire and shelter and everything. I can't get salt.
Yeah.
There's going to come a point where I have to start burning salt brush. I have to go to a salt location. Like there's a reason primitive people had a very industrious trade of salt all across their area, because you have to have that for synaptic functions. Your brain stops thinking, you just get exhausted, you get fog brain, you get tired, and you'll just eat a little bit of salt and you'll feel like you just had a meal when you're super hungry.
Yeah, I used to
resets it all.
I used to race in triathlons, fun fact, and that would be one of the things. A lot of dudes would start to cramp up and they're pounding water, and it's like, no, you need sodium.
Yes.
Like sodium is what you need.
Sodium and potassium.
Yeah.
Well, they make those great little packets now. They go into a 16-ounce bottle of water. It's all your electrolytes. I mean, there's almost no excuse, you know.
To a salt mine and get an actual chunk of salt rock.
That'd be awesome.
And then just stick it in a handkerchief and throw it in my pack.
Yeah, you're a lot tougher than I am.
Yeah. I mean, you just scrape it with your knife. You get a little pile of it. You can put it in your fish. Like, it tastes amazing.
Fantastic. Okay.
That's what a real man is like.
Having a good experience in the backcountry is a matter of just buying clothes that work. That doesn't mean you have to buy the most expensive clothes, right? You can make a poncho out of an army blanket. That's a great winter setup. You can go buy the highest end backcountry gear. Also, great winter setup, right? So the moon boots that I had when I was a kid, horrific. They're made of cotton, plastic on the outside. They'd get wet, my toes would get cold, and I had a bad experience. Now that I'm an adult, I'm wearing some high-end La Sportiva mountaineering boots. My toes don't get cold anymore, right? Spent some good money on that. The general rule for winter warmth is everything's got to be loose. We were talking a little bit about compression shorts.
Yeah.
So you have some? Tell me your little story there.
Well, so I wear compression. So like right now on my bottom, so I've just got compression shorts, like you would wear in the gym, right? Just short compression shorts, a lightweight base layer, and then pants.
So let's think about what compression does. It's going to restrict some circulation.
Sure.
My fingers are already starting to restrict circulation because of the cold.
Okay.
So compression is going to add to that restriction, right? Boots that are too tight are going to add to the restriction. It's going to restrict the blood flow, and it's going to start to make stuff cold.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it's wrong, but I'm going to say there's better.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, no. I'm fascinated by this.
I did a little bit of a test in Canada a couple years ago, and I brought up multiple layers. I had an external bibs that were Filson wool, and I was okay warm, but I had too many layers underneath, and it kind of compressed and it didn't move. I got a little bit of cold. Now it was 30 below, right? And then the next day I swapped out those exact pants for just some really loose wool as well, but they're the loose Swedish military pants. Just that loose bagginess was like a world of difference.
Really?
Okay.
So if you're getting cold, a lot of times it's because something you've got is exposed or too compressed. Blood is what makes our extremities and everything warm. Anything that restricts that blood from moving is going to be bad, to include stuff that'll, like vascular constriction, right? Caffeine's bad, alcohol's bad. Those type of things will be bad over time.
I'm glad I don't ever drink then.
And it's all a matter of every little thing you can do to make it a little bit better adds on itself. Like compression shorts by themselves, that's not who cares, right? Compression shorts plus boots that are too tight, plus cotton pants instead of Gore-Tex pants and you kneel down in it, plus some cold fingers equals, now we're starting to have a problem.
Yeah.
So if I can fix the boots that are too tight, I can put Gore-Tex over the outside of me so I don't kneel in cold. I can get something that warms my fingers up. Wear something that doesn't compress your largest muscles in your body. All of those things will add up to make it a little bit easier.
Okay. So even on like top layers, like you like a little bit of bagginess.
Well, get one thing. Let me ask. So like instead of compression shorts, like I'm wearing just Lululemon athletic smart underwear.
Yeah.
And it's antimicrobial, smart fabric. Then a little bit heavier thermal underwear, and then UF Pro pants.
So if it's so cold, like right now, this is coldish.
Very tolerable.
This isn't like -30, -50. If we're gonna go to the -30, -50, wool base layer, loose.
Okay.
Snug, but loose. And then a next layer of wool, like this, only wool, that's loose, right? Maybe even 2 of those shirts. Then a wool outer layer, then a cotton outer layer, right?
Man.
And we'll do, when I went to Canada the last time, I wore these gloves, and then I had these big, they're called gauntlets, but they're like mitts that you can put over the top of that with beaver skin on the outside.
Okay.
Right? And it's just one layer and another layer, and it's like putting pillows around the outside of you.
Okay.
Nothing tight, everything loose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Okay, number 4, let's talk about moving around in this shit.
Yeah. Especially when you're a thick boy, it gets a little difficult.
Make the post holes for everyone. So one of the worst things to do, when I was a military instructor a long time ago, we used to run these land navigation courses, and it was kind of just wind-blown snow out in the West Desert, and it's only like this deep.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between potholing every inch and just walking across the top with snowshoes was substantial.
Yeah.
When you're at super high altitude and it's 17 feet of snow, you have to have something to keep on top.
Of course.
So one of the classes they'll teach up in Canada is they'll make ski shoes. They're a 6-foot long ski type snowshoe that you can cruise across the top with, but proper prior planning prevents poor performance. So if you just bring some snowshoes with you or backcountry skis or some way to travel, you have just completely opened up the area. There are some trees on that far mountain that I would love to be able to travel to and get some good, I mean, that'd be a great place to have a shelter too, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm post-holing between here and there, I'm not going over there.
No, hell
like,
no.
I'm going to stay here,
No
right?
way. Yeah.
I'll build a fire, do what I can. But if I've got snowshoes or backcountry skis, let's go. We can be there in 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? So snowshoes or skis or the way to travel in this environment is key. It's the difference between going 1.5 miles in a day and covering 10 miles in a day.
Yeah. We were out here a couple days ago, higher up, and when we were getting off snow machines, I mean, there was parts of the day when, even what we're in now, I don't know the total accumulation of this, but it's like,
this is like 2 or 3 feet.
And snowshoes would have been very helpful.
Yes.
Like massively helpful.
Even,
but yeah.
Even stepping down to your knee, if I can break through here, I'm not breaking, but even stepping down to your knee and having to just get up and out.
Yeah, it's a
just
full
a couple
lunge.
times,
Yeah,
and it's exhausting.
It's a full lunge.
Adding to that too is if you don't have the proper clothing,
you're
getting wet.
And then it gets dangerous.
And then it starts to wick its way up.
Yep.
And you're up shit's creek. You know.
Starts to get major dangerous.
Yep.
So one of the last things too, if you're legitimately deep in the backcountry, man, nothing beats a peep or a GPS. A peep is an avalanche beacon. A GPS is this guy right here. I like this because not only can I use it as an actual GPS in conjunction with my phone, but I can send text messages out. If we go rolling off the side of this hill right now because of an avalanche, as long as I can push this button a couple times, I've got a help me, I have fallen and cannot reach my whatever text message that saves my bacon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Most survival situations are caused by exposure, and exposure can be resolved really quick with a phone call or a text message.
Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, I just picked up for this trip a Garmin Fortrex. It's the forearm mounted one. Same thing, it works very similar. It was $200. I think that model is like $350.
Yeah.
And dude, is your life worth that?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Some people may say no, and then that's fine, you know,
Yeah,
kick
that's
rocks.
fine.
But $300, you know, send out a SOS, someone's coming to get you.
For the longest time, I didn't have one of these. When I started teaching survival classes down south here, I have a friend that we go out with, and we ran into some flash floods.
Yeah.
We lost a guy for a little while, found him later. I immediately went out and bought one of these.
Yeah.
Because not even so much for myself, but for the other people that I'm responsible for.
Sure.
And it's also a peace of mind for my wife.
Yep.
You know, like, hey, I want to stay another day. Okay, I can send a text message there. Am I good to come back on Saturday?
Yeah.
Cool. Problem solved, right? Each
Yep.
text message has a GPS location on it.
Yep.
And I can enable tracking if I want,
Yeah.
and she can log on that website and be like, oh, he's right here.
Yeah.
I didn't have to send a message if I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It really is critical. It's I mean, frankly, something I've I don't know why, but I haven't done that, and which is negligent.
I got it for this trip, so we're good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a wife or kids, so who's gonna really miss
Yeah.
me?
Got you.
Who's gonna miss you? I'll take care of your dog.
Yeah.
You're good. There you go.
But yeah, it really is. You know, even just going out and about, like if I go shooting in the desert, forget about snow or anything. It's like, especially if I'm going solo, it's always like, hey, look, I'm going to this place this time. If you don't hear from me by 8 p.m., wait
But
till
if you
9.
break
But
your-
at 9, like you need to start doing something.
If you break your if you break your leg at 7 a.m. and no one's going to call till 8 p.m., you can get a helicopter rolling by 9.
Sure.
So like that's massive.
Or that's a long 12 hours of suffering, dude.
I really enjoy going places where there aren't trails, right?
Yeah.
If this was a trail here, I would want to go that way or that way, because you start discovering old homesteads and you find like springs and just like dead animal parts you can turn into tools and whatever silliness, right? And that gets dangerous without some kind of way for someone to find me, because you won't be able to find me on a trail. I'm in a weird place. So if I do break my leg or get stabbed or attacked by a killer bee or whatever, you know, I can just hit the button and say, hey, I need some help.
Yeah. Last thing too on those, and then we'll wrap this up because we're kind of a little long-winded. Mine, you know, it tracked our kind of journey up. And so I was like, hey, we only went 0.8 miles up. It took us this amount of time because it tracked us. So depending on the sunset and when we need to be back, because we don't have the proper gear to stay out here longer, we need to leave at 4:30. You know, so it just does a lot in a very small, simple, cheap package.
You can hit a request to NOAA and it will pull in data on weather, which is awesome for me.
Oh, cool.
That lets me know if I'm dealing with flash floods in the canyons, and lets me know if a storm's moving in.
Smart.
If there's a big barometric change, and then it gives you sunset.
Cool.
Like I can do the finger thing and guesstimate, or I can say, hey, the sun's going down in a half an hour. We got 15 minutes to figure this out or we're in trouble.
Cool.
That's those are probably the two most valuable things to me, in addition to the ability to send a text.
Cool. I think that's it.
We'll wrap it up. What's the March course in Arizona for anyone that wants to?
So I've got a course. It's not my course. My friend Tony's running a course down in Arizona. Go to tjacksurvival.com. I've got a calendar on there. There's a phone number on there. You want to get on that course, let me know. It's David Holliday's teaching. If you don't know who that guy is, Google him, Holladay, Holladay.
Okay.
I've got interviews with him on TJack Survival on my Journey to Primitive playlist.
Cool.
The man set the standard in desert survival. He was a consultant for Les Stroud. He was a consultant for Bear Grylls. He taught me more than, he's forgot more than I've learned from him.
Cool.
So I don't think you can find a better instructor.
Super cool.
Right on.
All right, guys. Well, thank you to Tyler for coming out for the series here. It's been super cool.
You're the man. Thank you.
Learned
That's
a
what
bunch.
my mom says.
Yeah. Maybe she's right.
It's true. It's true.
All right, guys. Horrible way to end.
COVID
I was
right on my
gonna end
face,
it,
you
and
son
then
of
the
a
cough
bitch. Is
Is
comes.
that you, Rona?
Yeah, right in my face.
We will see you soon.
Take care.